The AK-47. This weapon has the damage, the range, the looks, and the power to get you through every map, every difficulty, and every game mode in Left 4 Dead. The AK-47 will always be a reliable weapon to use, no matter what. But what about the other weapons? Why aren't they as good as the AK? One word: consistency.
What?
It's consistently good. Whether you're playing on realism, survival, versus, or a custom map, I mean, this weapon will just never fail you, unless you're being pulled by a smoker. But other than that, this weapon is a It can stagger a sitting witch. The AK melts the tank. In fact, it's the best assault rifle in the game to kill a tank. It reloads fast, and while you're reloading, the flashlight of the weapon still shines in front of you, which helps in dark areas. It's also very easy to save ammo because of its slow rate of fire. The AK is also great at killing special infected and amazing at killing commons.
It was perfect.
The one downside it has is the accuracy. It's actually pretty bad. You pretty much cannot shoot while running. It's just too inaccurate, and if you're in the middle of being pulled by a smoker, you better hope that bullet spread is on your side.
What the hell is this?
To make up for the terrible accuracy, you have to crouch pretty often, which isn't a bad thing by any means. In practice, it's actually a very good habit to walk and crouch because you're less likely to get friendly fired. The pros outweigh the cons by a mile. The AK-47 is, without a doubt, the best weapon in the game. S+ tier. With that being said, I guess it wouldn't hurt to make a tier list? Every weapon will be judged based on how well they do across every game mode and on expert difficulty. The Uzi is the worst SMG, like it's not even close. The damage is just not it. Takes like 6 body shots on expert and 11 on realism to kill a common infected, 3 on versus, not bad but not great. It's the most accurate SMG, but that doesn't make up for the loss of damage. It's okay at killing specials, but horrible at killing commons. If you're going to use this thing, aim for the head. You might think that this is the best SMG to use on realism because the game wants you to go for headshots, but aiming for the head, it's unreliable because of the wonky hitboxes, even with an accurate gun. C tier. The MP5 is okay, its damage is good, and it's pretty accurate. The one problem with this weapon though is the reload speed. It's not that much slower than the other SMGs, but in a situation where you need to kill a tank or a witch, it can make a big difference. This weapon is not bad though, C tier. The MAC-10 is the best SMG by far. Having the highest damage, good accuracy, and fast reload speed, this gun is good at killing anything. Specials, commons, tanks, you name it. The MAC-10 is like the AK-47 for the SMGs. The biggest downside is the accuracy, but it's really not that bad, and it can be rectified by walking, crouching, or finding laser sights. It's just a good weapon all around. B tier. The pump shotgun is just straight up worse than the chrome shotgun in every way. The damage on it is actually higher, but that is only if you land every pellet, which is unlikely because of the wide spread this weapon has. It's actually harder to crown sitting witches because of this, but easier to crown standing witches. I guess this shotgun is also better at killing common infected, but again, it's not a big difference. What is a big difference is killing special infected. The wide spread of this weapon makes it incredibly hard to kill specials at long range, or even medium range. So it's really got nothing over the chrome shotgun. It's at the bottom of C tier. The chrome shotgun is the superior tier 1 shotgun. It's more accurate and it shoots less pellets, which is a good thing because you're more likely to land all of your shots. This weapon is great at killing special infected and is still good against commons, despite having a tight spread. If you get laser sights on this, it becomes so accurate that you can kill specials from a long range. All in all, this weapon is on par with the MAC-10. B tier. The Scout.
Yeah, you mean scout for another weapon.
Do I really need to say why? It shoots too slow and the damage per shot is awful. And yet the friendly fire damage is insanely high. Watch where you shoot. I had no idea this thing did more than half your health on expert. On realism, it takes 2 shots to kill commons, which is already too much. 6 shots for chargers, 3 for hunters, 2 for smokers, and 4 shots for jockeys. Don't even get me started with killing tanks and witches with this weapon. It takes 77 shots to kill a tank on expert, which takes like a minute and a half. and that is without missing any shots. If you're ever in a situation where you're surrounded by common infected, you're just done. Just never pick this weapon up. There are no redeeming qualities about it unless you really want to challenge yourself. F tier. The AWP. Never pick up the AWP, unless you really enjoy the sound it makes when you shoot. Not much else to say about these Counter-Strike weapons. If the sniper is going to be bolt action, it really needs to do more damage. This weapon, along with the scout, should have stayed in Counter-Strike. D tier. The hunting rifle. Finally, we're talking about real snipers. The hunting rifle is a very good weapon because of how insanely accurate it is. You don't even have to scope in most of the time. And with laser sights, that crosshair barely moves. You can easily kill specials with it. However, the hunting rifle is not good at dealing with commons. It only has 15 shots, so killing commons, tanks, and witches can be a bit harder because of that. In realism, this problem is worse because commons just become bullet sponges. 3 shots to kill 1 common. What a joke. On the bright side, the sniper does have a fast reload speed, but that's all you have. Snipers in general are some of the worst weapons in realism, but in versus, it's the opposite. So it balances it out. A tier. The military rifle. This weapon does the same amount of damage as the hunting rifle. Only difference is the clip size, the ammo capacity, and the fact that it's way less accurate. Running and shooting is just not in your best interest, so you have to scope or crouch more often, and that's good. You're not gonna get friendly fired as much.
You actually got you.
The military rifle is 10 times better at killing tanks, witches, and commons because of the higher clip size. You go from 15 bullets to 30, double the clip size, double the damage, which really helps out in realism because 3 shots to kill 1 common is a little ridiculous if you ask me. The reload speed is about the same. So both of these weapons have their strengths and weaknesses. Still, I think the military rifle is better because it simply offers more damage than the hunting rifle, and damage is king in Left 4 Dead 2. The dual pistols are just not good. I don't care what anybody says. Sure, they can be decent at killing specials, but that is what your primary weapon is for. Sure, they can be decent at killing tanks, but that is what your primary weapon is for. Sure, they can be decent at killing, alright, you get the picture. Your secondary weapon should be used to kill commons to save ammo on your primary. That's what they're there for. And the dual pistols do not do a good job at this. They are only useful in situations where you don't have a primary. Even when you go down, they still aren't that useful because of how inaccurate they are. And the reload speed is extremely slow as well. There is only one redeeming quality about this weapon, and that is the speed of your finger. If you have a happy trigger finger, these pistols can actually do good damage, but that's it. If you can't click fast, this weapon is just not worth using. You'd be better off using a melee weapon. D tier. The Magnum is unironically one of the best guns in the game, despite being a secondary. It one-shots commons on expert realism, and it can kill 2 per shot. It's not as good at killing specials as the dual pistols, but you shouldn't be using this weapon to kill them anyway. Also, when you go down, the Magnum is more accurate than the dual pistols, so killing specials is easier in that scenario. When you go down in Left 4 Dead 2, you're basically useless, but with the Magnum, it still feels like you're contributing to the team. This is amazing on bots, because they go down all the time. The Magnum does its job and it can save you a lot of ammo. And on top of all of that, the reload speed is really fast. There are literally no downsides to using this weapon over the dual pistols. The only downside I can think of is sacrificing damage to tanks and witches with the absence of a melee weapon. But the exchange for more survivability and ammo conservation is definitely worth it. S tier. The M16, arguably the worst assault rifle in the game because it doesn't do anything remarkable. Bad. It's got low damage and it has a very high rate of fire. You'll be burning through ammo very fast. It's like having double tap 1.0 while using this weapon. The accuracy and the reload speed are the only things this weapon has. Even then, both of those things aren't good enough to make up for its lack of damage. I guess this weapon is good at killing specials, but there are already other assault rifles in the game that do a better job. The M16 only does 33 damage per shot, so killing commons, tanks, and witches is definitely not this weapon's strong suit. This weapon is just outclassed by every other assault rifle.
An assault rifle, come to Papa.
Low damage, very high rate of fire, mediocre accuracy, and a fast reload speed. Sounds like a mediocre weapon. I'm only putting this in B tier because I would still rather use this than any of the other tier 1 weapons. The SG.
I mean, it's alright, like...
This is just a better version of the M16. There isn't much to say because these weapons have the exact same stats, except the SG has a scope, and it shoots slightly faster. It even slows your rate of fire when you're scoped in, which makes it easier to kill long-range targets, and will save you ammo. I think this weapon reloads a bit slower than the M16, but it's definitely worth the trade-off to have a scope. I consider this weapon to be the second best assault rifle in the game. The damage output is still pretty low, but with the scope, you can consistently get headshots on special infected. A tier. The Scar. It's got the best accuracy out of every assault rifle, the largest magazine, and its damage output is actually pretty good. But it has a 3-round burst that can be detrimental when it comes to friendly fire.
Oh, no.
Well, actually, you could shove while shooting to cancel the full 3-round burst, which doesn't make any sense, but it's an option. The Scar can one-shot every special in the game, except the Charger. But in order to one-shot specials, you need to make use of that accuracy and aim for the head. If you're not doing this, you're better off using the other assault rifles. The time it takes to reload is so long, you may as well make a sandwich while you wait until this thing reloads. But the weapon makes up for that with its large magazine. This gun is the worst assault rifle at dealing with commons, mostly because of the fact that you're constantly wasting ammo. On Expert, it's perfect because zombies take 3 body shots to kill, but on Realism, the 3-round burst is awful when going for headshots. 2 bullets wasted every time you aim for the head, and in Versus, zombies die in 2 shots, meaning the 3rd shot is wasted unless you're shooting into a crowd. The reload speed will also screw you over. This weapon is decent at killing tanks and witches though. The Scar isn't too bad, but it's heavily flawed in many ways. The time it takes to reload, the risk of friendly fire, and the 3-round burst itself all brings this weapon down. But at the same time, it's the best assault rifle in the game to kill special infected because of its accuracy. So I think it lands at the top of B tier. The M4 is a serviceable weapon. It does everything a shotgun should do. It clears commons with ease, and you can deal a lot of damage to a tank if you're close.
I'll be using that.
The only downside this weapon has is the pellet spread, just like the pump shotgun. I know it's a shotgun, but the pellet spread is just too wide. It makes it hard to kill specials from a distance. However, the shotgun does have more DPS than the Spaz. Not by much though. This weapon is basically the tier 2 version of the pump shotgun, A tier. The Spaz 12.
It was perfect. Perfect.
Basically the M4 but better. This weapon does slightly less damage but has a tighter spread, making it easier to crown witches, kill tanks, and special infected. Since this weapon has a tighter spread, you'll be doing more damage with this rather than the M4 because with that weapon, most of the pellets will miss your target if you aren't close enough. The Spaz allows you to be at a safer distance while still doing good damage. This weapon is just straight up better.
I'm stronger. I'm better. I am better.
S tier. The M60.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
One of the worst weapons in the game. I'm not joking. Not only will you run out of ammo extremely fast, but the damage on it is shockingly bad. A full M60 can't even kill a tank on expert difficulty.
What?
Like, why? This is a tier 3 weapon. Shouldn't it be stronger? Am I crazy for thinking that? Also, the accuracy is pretty mediocre, so killing specials is also something this weapon is not great at doing. Killing commons is the only thing this weapon does well. And don't get me wrong, it does it really well. Probably the best weapon in the game to kill common infected. But the problem is the fact that you only have 150 bullets. That's just not enough ammo for any long-term usage. And because of this, it's almost always a better idea to just hold on to your current weapon, even if it is tier 1. If you see it and there's a horde nearby, pick it up and use it. If not, leave it. As Gordon Ramsay says, it's not good enough. D tier. The grenade launcher.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Way better than the M60 because it actually has ammo and the damage output is pretty good. A direct hit does 1,000 damage, so you can one-shot every special infected except the Charger, which I find kind of ridiculous. I mean, why not? The Charger has 600 health. In fact, he's quite resilient to it. It takes 1 direct hit and 9 pistol bullets afterwards to kill him. Jesus, may as well be a mini tank at this point. Maybe the Charger just has
Like the chorus of a song.
A tank can be 3 shot on easy, 4 on normal, and 8 on expert, so it's decent at killing tanks. As for common infected, it really depends on how well you can aim. The grenade launcher can wipe a whole horde, or just kill a few zombies. Every shot can be valuable if you know what you're doing, but it can also be deadly when it comes to friendly fire, so watch where you shoot, and also don't shoot yourself. I'd say it's in the middle of B tier, better than tier 1 weapons, but I wouldn't say it's better than tier 2 weapons. There's my Left 4 Dead 2 weapon tier list. I hope you like it.
But I'm not done yet.
Because I have yet to mention laser sights. Weapons that had good accuracy like the Scar and the hunting rifle now have pixel perfect accuracy even when you're running around. Now take a look at the weapons that had bad accuracy like the AK and the military rifle. These weapons are pretty accurate now, so their weaknesses are gone. Therefore, there isn't really a reason to use those accurate weapons anymore. An AK with laser sights does the same thing now, but better. The only difference is being at a very long range. But to be honest, that situation where you need to snipe infected is very rare. Most combat encounters in Left 4 Dead 2 are either close quarters or mid-range. This game doesn't have a Blightstormer or a Rattling Gunner. Do you see what I mean now? The weapons with the most damage are the best in Left 4 Dead because of laser sights. Laser sights on shotguns also make a huge difference too. It doesn't look like much, but when you get laser sights on the Spaz, you can kill smokers from a long range. If you get laser sights on an AK, let's just be honest,
I said GG.
you are a force to be reckoned with. The only downside of that weapon was the accuracy, and with that gone, you just become a god of war. If you put laser sights on every weapon in the game, I don't think there is any contest. Some weapons are better in specific game modes, and there are 3 game modes in particular that I want to cover: Campaign, Realism, and Versus. Each of these game modes have their respective weapon that I personally think are the best. With Campaign mode, common infected are squishy and can be taken down with a couple of shots. With an AK, they can be 1 shot on normal and 2 shot on expert. With that being said, I think it's safe to say that the AK is the best weapon in Campaign mode. Then again, any weapon is good in Campaign because there aren't any major threats you need to worry about. Still though, I think the AK is the best because it's a jack of all trades. It does everything well, and it has a very high damage output. But you really can just use anything you want in Campaign, across all difficulties. If you guys have watched some of my videos of me playing custom maps on Expert Realism, you must know by now that I usually default to a shotgun, more specifically the Spaz 12. And the reason for that is because of the common infected. They are tanky as hell, so a shotgun is the easiest way to deal with them. Of course, you could aim for the head, but like I said before, aiming for the head is really hard to do because the head hitbox is just not right, man. It's not right. I use the Spaz 12 because it does everything well. Kills specials, kills commons, kills tanks, kills witches. The M4 is similar, but it's slightly worse at killing specials and tanks. So I think the Spaz 12 is the best weapon in Realism. In Versus mode, it's the military rifle. Snipers are designed to kill special infected, which is you. The military rifle just so happens to also be good at killing commons, tanks, and witches because of its higher clip size. So I think this weapon is the best in Versus because of that fact alone. But which weapon is the best overall? Well, you already know that. It's the AK-47, of course. What else was it gonna be? Look, just because I think the AK is the best gun doesn't mean that it's the only weapon I use. And neither should you, dear viewer. Let's be real, using the same gun over and over again just because it's the best isn't fun, at least for me. Sure, using the AK-47 and feeling so powerful can be fun, but after a while, the game will just get boring and stale. And then before you know it, you'll start questioning why other people would use other weapons when they should just use the AK-47. That mindset is not what I want you to take away from watching this video. I apologize for me saying that you should never pick up certain weapons on this list, because any weapon can work in this game. This tier list just gives you an idea of how hard it can be to make them work. There is no shame in using any weapon you want, and this is coming from a person who has just broken 4,000 hours in this game. The AK-47 is simply a weapon that anyone can use, while still being incredibly effective. And I mean it. It works on every custom map, every game mode, and expert. This is how every weapon was judged on the tier list. It wasn't just about the stats of each weapon, it was also about how easy or difficult they were to use, and their effectiveness in certain situations. So yes, for the final time, the AK-47 is the best weapon in the game.
I mean, it's alright, like,